Hey guys, Spirit of the Lie here. Obviously, the new Indian civilizations are the new exciting thing at the moment, but in this video I want to highlight a recent big change to an existing civilization, the Saracens. Last Thursday, they received a couple of sneaky changes in the patch notes that I think went largely unnoticed, but I think are a big deal. The first change is, of course, they lost their Madrasa Castle Age unique tech for monks and received a new unique tech called Counterweights in Imperial Age, which I covered before. An implication of that is that zealotry, which gives 20 HP to their camels, had to be bumped down to Castle Age, allowing you to pick up that tech much earlier than you previously could. The second change was a hidden modification to the Mamelukes bonus damage that overhauls its dynamic against one of their biggest counters. Remember, Mamelukes also benefit from zealotry, so I think they came out of the last patch a little under the radar as one of the biggest winners. We're going to look into the importance of both of those changes and how they make Saracens a lot more powerful in both Castle and Imperial Age. We'll start though by looking at their Castle Age camels. Saracens already have plus 10 HP on those as a passive bonus, so we're already starting with a leg up. Zealotry is maybe a little expensive, relatively speaking, as a Castle Age tech at 500 food and 450 gold, which is about half the cost of advancing to the Imperial Age. With that extra 20 HP on top of Bloodlines, you're getting a total of 150 HP compared to a fully upgraded Knight's 120. In a way, it does feel like buying Bloodlines a second time for around 3 or 4 times the original cost, but let's see how big of a difference it makes. As one example, against Castle Age crossbows, they still lag behind the Knight because of its high pierce armor, taking now 30 instead of previously 24 shots. That's not a game-changing improvement, but a combo of camels and crossbows is seen in 2v2s reasonably often. And if you have a large mass of camels, then zealotry is an easy way to make all of them more resistant to crossbows, while also being good against knights. Speaking of which, against knights they go from basically trading 1v1, as you typically see from a generic camel, to now having a pretty significant chunk of HP left over in that trade. Remember, the whole point of camels isn't that they destroy knights outright, but just that they're cheaper, so even a 1-for-1 trade is still cost effective. After zealotry though, you can see it is a pretty one-sided trade, even with equal numbers. For another notable comparison, pikemen counter camels in a similar way, by essentially trading 1-for-1 but with a lower cost. In this case though, with zealotry added in Castle Age, Saracen camels actually win 1v1, and this is even with fully upgraded pikemen, which is somewhat unusual to see in Castle Age. If we do it with unupgraded defensive pikemen, then Saracen camel riders actually hold up really well, with almost half their HP left. That's quite notable, as in fact from a total resource perspective, considering how much HP was lost, there's an argument here that Saracen camels are trading evenly with pikemen one-on-one, partly helped by the fact that camels take less bonus damage than regular cavalry. I definitely wouldn't encourage going full camels against full pikemen, but you can see they're doing much better than, say, a generic camel would. So far, it looks like Saracen camels are holding up well, and can definitely benefit from early zealotry if you need a power spike for your camels and are okay with holding off on Imperial Age. Anytime a melee unit gains more HP, it's going to be a very flexible bonus, and as we've seen, it helps in measurable ways against crossbows, knights, and pikemen. Now, I mentioned at the start though, there were 2 big changes I want to talk about, and what we've seen so far, I'd actually consider the smaller of the 2. The larger change, I'd say, was to their unique unit, the Mameluke. Now, off the top, of course, it benefits in Castle Age from the same plus 20 HP through getting early zealotry. Considering they start with less HP than the camel rider, it's arguably a similar or even slightly larger benefit than what we've seen for camels. That's notable, of course, and helps the unit, but the revolutionary change is that they no longer receive anti-archer bonus damage. That's right, the Mameluke has secretly been considered an archer for the last 22 years. The effect of that is extra bonus damage from more sources than might immediately come to mind. Everything from skirmisher units and Huskarls to cannon galleons and even Burmese Manipur cavalry have been receiving some hefty bonuses against Mamelukes, though that's over as of last Thursday. To give a sense of how important that is, against elite skirmishers in Castle Age, they go from taking 7 damage previously down to now just 3. To me, skirmishers are the really big ones affected here, and it completely reverses the relationship between those units. Previously, it's not just that they were being outranged by skirmishers, but even up close, it didn't feel like a great engagement in either Castle or Imperial, given Mamelukes are one of the most gold-intensive non-siege land units in the game. The movement of zealotry to Castle Age is arguably just a temporary boost, but losing anti-archer bonus damage helps right through to post-Imperial. One of the big hurdles to going Mamelukes was always it was massively gold-intensive, but lost to 2 of the cheapest and easiest to mass units that basically every civ has. At this point though, it pretty clearly has the upper hand against skirmishers. With equal total resources, just look at the difference in how many units are left over after a fight with 12 of them. It's the difference between losing 6 Mamelukes and losing 1, while taking out 28 enemy units. I think that's a pretty big deal. So that's the new and improved Saracens, and whether it's camels or especially Mamelukes, I'd argue it was a big patch for them. I wouldn't be surprised to see some experimentation with Castle Age Mamelukes as a response and some sort of uptick in the Saracens' play rate. While they've always been a bit underwhelming in 1v1 games, they were already comfortably a top 10 civ on open map team games within the ranked ladder statistically, and I think these changes just make them even better in an anti-cavalry role. That'll do it for this one though, and of course these are just my thoughts on what the change means. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.